So we've got a pretty fun event for you. Let's see. This is our 34th Story Slam since January of 2014. So still going strong. No pandemic's going to slow us down. We've got a full winter planned. So there's a Story Slam every month up through March, just like we normally do. So make sure to keep an eye on the Teton County Library's Facebook page, and we'll get you all the dates. The next date coming up, I believe, is December 15th. So put that on your calendars. So anyways, without further ado, this is the Cabin Fever Story Slam series presented by Teton County Library and produced by all of our favorite producer, Leah Schlachter right there. Woo! And so anyways, before we get into the full thing tonight, one thing to know is that if you do want to tell a story, tonight's theme is how we met. And the way to do that, we've got our traditional jack-o'-lantern bucket to pull names from. I will be the one pulling names. If you want to tell a story, one of two ways: either just put your name in the chat and I will write it down and put your name in the bucket, or you can signal me. If you have my phone number, text me, do whatever you want to do. You can smoke signals, hand signals, and we'll get you in there. Let's see. Oh, we got a name. All right, Nash, thank you. All right, we'll get you in there. Now, before we, one more thing before we get going. Tonight's Mad Lib, I know a lot of you know what that is, but just to direct you to the chat, we have 2 Mad Libs tonight. There's a link for each of those, which goes to an anonymous Google form. The only people who can see the responses, and it's anonymous when we see them, are Leah and I. So, or you might be able to see the responses, but it's anonymous. So those 2 links are for you to fill out, have fun, put whatever you want. Just remember that, I mean, we don't want to censor anyone. So whatever you write, I'll probably read it, and no one will know who said it, unless it's racist or sexist or something stupid like that. Now, without further ado, we have a special guest tonight who is also, he's one of our judges, but he's got a little message for all of us before we get going. So I'd like to introduce Ben Williamson. He is the executive director of the Northern Rockies Conservation Cooperative, and he's got a little bit of something to tell us.
Hi, everybody, and thank you to Jeff and Leah for giving me a second to make a plug here. There's a project going on right now called Voices of Jackson, a 2020 oral history project. It was started by myself and a friend over at KHOL. And the goal of the project is basically to capture your voices. So this is a good audience. There's 27 participants right here. So all of you guys can do this. All you have to do is open your phone up, go to the Voice Memos app, and record yourself for 1.5 minutes, basically making sense of what it's like to live in Jackson through the 2020 experience, whether that be pandemic or racial injustice experiences or the election, whatever stands out to you. In particular, how has that felt living in this specific place? So yeah, we have some prompts up on the KHOL's website, so you can go there. We're hoping to just gather people's genuine perspectives. So don't feel like you have to say a grand statement. There's also some recording sessions happening at the library for the next 2 nights from 4 to 7. So if you want to come in and record live, you can do that. It's COVID safe. Yeah, and I hope you guys all submit a response. Thank you to Jeff for giving me a minute to make that plug.
Yeah, of course. Awesome. Thanks, Ben. I'm looking forward to that. So again, Voices of Jackson, make sure you guys get your Jackson story out there, and it's way easier than I even realized. Just record it on your phone, 1.5 minutes, and then we can get it to them.
Thank you.
Sweet. Well, thanks, Ben. Hi, Mom. Everybody be cool. My mom's here. I hope you don't mind profanity. Let's see. All right. So general event details, if you're new. So this is a storytelling competition. Our top 3 storytellers will get prizes tonight, and we'll talk about what those prizes, well, we can talk about them now. First place, all 3 places will get one of these Cabin Fever Story Slam hats. You see Leah and my mom rocking them. This is a small distinguished group of people who get these hats that you have to have placed in a story slam. So if you see someone around town or maybe in Nashua, New Hampshire wearing one of these, it's because they're a badass storyteller. So first place gets also $40 gift certificate to wherever you want in town, and second place gets $20 to wherever you want in town. Third place gets the hat. So judging criteria, as I said, Ben is one of our judges tonight. So thank you, Ben. And then he is joined by Leah, who is kind of playing triple duty tonight as our producer, one of our judges, and our timer. Excuse me. So thanks to Leah and Ben for being judges. The way the competition works with the online version, when we do it live, we do up to 10 storytellers. Tonight we're going to do 5. If there's more than that, we might see if we can sneak you in, but we're gonna, looks like we've got a second name here. Let me write that down. Thank you, Haley. So anyways, we are going to do 5 storytellers, and then again, top 3 will get prizes. Your stories must be true, no notes. You must incorporate the theme, which tonight is how we met. You'll be judged on your overall storytelling technique. And then, of course, we want you to do your best to stay within the time limit. So that's 5-minute time limit. If we hit that time limit, nobody's pulling out the hook or hitting the mute button, but just try and stick to it. Leah will show you a 1 minute left sign when we get to 1 minute left. And then at 5 minutes, you will hear the maraca of death, which will make a sound when Leah's not muted. Okay, so our 5 storytellers, so far we've got 2 in the bucket, so we're looking for at least 3 more. So get yourself a shot or do some jumping jacks or whatever it is you need to do to build up that courage. It's really not that scary. It's super fun. And most importantly, the Story Slam, the Cabin Fever audience and crew and family has become really well known for being ultra supportive. And this is like, we strive to make this a really comfortable, welcome environment, a supportive environment. So if you want to tell a story, please know that all these faces you see, and even the ones that you're not seeing right now, are going to be like propping you up and giving you some support. So we would love to hear if you have a story about how we met. Let's see, I talked about how you sign up. Again, you can put your name in the chat function. It looks like you can message me directly. So that works really well. Again, about our Mad Libs, a regular component of the Story Slams. So we have 2 anonymous Mad Libs, which you can fill out online. Both, there's an example of both in the chat, and then there's a link to the, oh, sweet. Thanks, Jose. Adding Jose to the list, one of our former all-stars at the Story Slam. Anyways, you can fill out the Google form totally anonymously, and I will read these throughout the evening. So there's 2 different ones. Looks like we're getting some responses. I gotta hit my refresh buttons here. Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for adding to those. Now, as I was saying, be supportive of our storytellers. When people are done, you might be muted, but you can get all kinds of active on the screen for them. As far as profanity goes, like, we're all adults. Profanity can totally ruin your story. It can also enhance it if you use it right. But keep in mind, this is a little bit different of a format than we've done in the past, where this is being recorded and it'll live on YouTube. So don't try and just shock us with some new words you might have learned. Otherwise, I said the show's being recorded. If we have more than 5 storytellers, we will allow, depending on where we end up. If we have a couple more, we might just try and squeeze everybody in. But if we get all of a sudden a big surge in people who want to tell stories, those who don't get picked will have the opportunity to tell the first line of their story. Now remember, the first line, not a summary of their whole story in what they think is one long sentence. Let's talk, we're not going to do an intermission. So if you need to eat, drink, get up, do whatever you need to do. And then let's see the details about Zoom. I'm kind of refreshing myself right now too. It's been a little while since we did this. There's reactions on here. Let's see, where are those? Oh yeah, reactions, bottom right. So if you scroll over the video, portion, you'll see some different prompts pop up. Bottom right is reactions, so you can get some clapping hands, some thumbs up, but also just being live totally works. Speaker view up in the top right allows you to see either just the speaker or everybody who's on the video. Leah's going to work on keeping everybody muted except for the speakers, so you don't have to worry about that. Thanks to Leah for pulling all the strings behind the scenes for us. And then the Mad Libs, I mentioned those. So we've got, if I never met blank, I never would have blank. And then the other one is when people first meet me, they think I'm blank, but I'm really blank. We're getting some responses, so thanks. A couple tips on storytelling before we jump into it. Remember, this is not group therapy. It's not stand-up comedy. And the more vulnerable and the more you are yourself and genuine and sincere, like people are really going to grasp on to your story. So just be yourself, put it out there, and I assure you this is a very supportive audience of awesome people. Again, Ben and Leah judges. Leah is also our timekeeper. And just a shout out about Teton County Library's social media. You can find more at tclib.org. And then social media is Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest, hitting all the important ones. You're gonna get Snapchat and TikTok and all that stuff in there too someday. I don't even know how that stuff works. Okay. Well, without further ado, I think I got all the housekeeping out of the way. So we've got, let me take a, oh, thanks. Ben just added the Voices of Jackson website to the chat, so you can check out more about that. I think that's an awesome idea. I definitely want to be involved with that. So we've got a podium. We've got a full podium of storytellers in there. I'm also going to tell a story to kick it off. But again, if you want to add your name, or if you want to tell a story based on the theme, how we met, again, just message me in the chat and I will put your name on a piece of paper and get it into our jack-o'-lantern. All right, everyone. Well, without further ado, let me, if you don't mind, jump into our first story. Thanks. Okay. I'm gonna wrap my head around it. All right. It was the summer of 1982. I was 6 years old. I had a bike. My parents were having a yard sale. James Griffith showed up. He too had a bike. So we took off. We scoured our neighborhood for all the best jumps and then went to the Beeson Street Hill to see who could lay down the longest skids. When I got back home, I was so excited to tell my parents about the new friend who I just met, but all they wanted to talk about was where I had been for the last 3 hours. Well, when school started that year, James and I ended up being in the same first grade class, and we picked up right where we had left off, like almost instantly best friends, and started hanging out all the time. And then over the course of the next 2 years, we really became pretty inseparable. We were getting to know each other's families, hanging out at each other's houses, and really, really like becoming close friends. And I always loved getting to hang out at James's house because James was the youngest of 3 brothers. So he had a way longer leash than I had, being the oldest sibling. There was like a ton of freedom at the Griffith household. And his older brothers were like really cool too. Like they were much older than me, and they could have easily just like disregarded me as like one of James' young friends, but they were super cool to me. And so I totally just thought that they ruled the world. I love spending time over there. Well, one day I was at James's and we were like hanging out in his room. And then all of a sudden I hear this sound, this like totally incredible, but really foreign sound coming from his oldest brother, Robert's bedroom down the hall. And I was just like, it was like screeching guitars and super intense drums and these wild vocals. And I was like, what the hell is this? I absolutely have to find out what is going on down in Robert's room. And then it was as if the gods of thunder had answered my prayers, and Robert left his room with the door open and the music was still playing. So I made up some excuse, like I had to go to the bathroom or something, because I wanted to hurry down the hallway and just take a sneak peek into what was going on in Robert's zone. So as soon as I got into the hallway, it was like this tractor beam of music hit me, and it was just like pulling me towards the open door. Every step I took, the music was getting more and more and more intense. So I get to the door and I peek around and I look into Robert's room, and it was like looking into the briefcase in Pulp Fiction. It was literally the most beautiful sight I had ever seen in my life up until this moment. Every single square inch of every wall and the ceiling was covered seam to seam in rock and roll band posters. Black Sabbath, Iron Maiden, Dokken, Metallica, Kiss, and every other band that a rock and roller was going to listen to. And every single one was like glowing with this like perfect purple hue from the strategically placed black lights. I was freaking out. First off, I didn't even know it was physically possible or legal to hang posters on your ceiling. I didn't know that was a thing. But then just like, I couldn't believe what my eyes were seeing and what my ears were hearing. My young brain was just exploding. And all I knew is that whatever this was, I wanted more of it in my life. And so I'm taking it all in. And then all of a sudden Robert shows up, and I freak out. I'm like, oh shit, is he going to be pissed that I'm like creeping on his stuff? And it was like the total opposite. And he looks at me and he was like, what's up? You like Van Halen? And in my mind, I'm thinking, what the hell is a Van Halen? And before I can embarrass myself with a response, he says, yeah, this is their new album. They just released this. It's called 1984. I think you and James would really dig it. You should check it out. And instantly, Van Halen was my favorite band. And 1984 was my favorite album. And not soon after that, the song Jump became my favorite song. And then from there on out, every time James and I hung out, we would only listen to Van Halen, and pretty much only 1984, and mostly just the song Jump with a little bit of Panama mixed in here and there. So James and I stayed super close all the way up through like middle school, and like through all our formative years, we did all like the major things that we got into, we did them together. So skateboarding became like the thing that drove our lives, and we got into that together. And then that led to snowboarding, and that's all we could think about and all we wanted to do. And then that kind of transitioned into playing music, and he played the bass, I played the drums. And so we started our first band together, and like we were just like so connected on all these different levels. And ultimately, music ended up being the driving force that led James down his path. And he's now a music producer in the UK. And then snowboarding was the path that I took. And that's kind of how I ended up in Jackson, here in Jackson Hole. And so recently, as I'm sure many of you know, Eddie Van Halen unfortunately passed away of cancer. And James and I have stayed in contact over the years. And I saw this post that he had put up on social media. And he was talking about, it was pretty short and sweet, but he was just talking about how like massive of an influence Van Halen had been, and specifically Eddie Van Halen had been on his entire life, on his like musical taste, but even like on how he chose to have a career in music. And then he was saying how that was all because of the influence of his older brothers. And what I realized was like, I had no idea that we shared that same experience with that band. I knew that we really liked them when we were younger, and I knew that we listened to them a lot, but I felt the same way. And I was kind of blown away to realize like that we had both sort of deep down inside held this like massive respect for these rock gods, Van Halen. And so it was crazy when I stopped to think about all of this. And I realized I was able to distill the last 38 years of my musical preferences down to one band, one album, one song, and ultimately one moment where I got to see behind that door. Thanks, everyone. Yeah, the quiet. It's so weird when it's all quiet, but thanks. I appreciate the movement. That really helps. Awesome. Well, thank you, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Again, let's see. Oh, something got downloaded. I don't know what that is, but click on it. Something's going to blow up. I'm looking to see if we have any more. Oh, yeah, okay, cool. Just, I don't know, click on it. It's cool. Nothing happened. It's an awesome photo of Van Halen. And it's the right Van Halen, because there's a right Van Halen with David Lee Roth, and then there's a wrong Van Halen. So just in case you were confused about that. They had a couple good songs, but the original Van Halen is the best, and we all know that. Okay, awesome. Thanks everyone. Again, it's open if anybody wants to tell a story about how we met, or that's the theme. Not if you want to tell a story about how you and I met, that's cool too. Right now we've got 3 names in the bucket, so we've got a full podium for our winners tonight. And but feel free to put your name. I'm gonna check, make sure I didn't miss anyone. No, it looks like I've got everyone in there. Thanks to Kate for the Van Halen photo. I just learned a new thing. I didn't even know you could put a photo into Zoom chat. So it's all just like breaking new ground for me, just like Van Halen did. All right, well, let's see. I'll read one of our Mad Libs. Again, reminder, the links to the Mad Libs are in the chat, so it's totally anonymous. We encourage you to fill these out with whatever you want. Let's see. When people first meet me, they think I'm Smith's, but really, I'm Kroger. Nice. We'll do one more. When people first meet me, they think I'm living my best life, but really, I'm just trying to pay Jackson rent. Yeah, truth. All right, everyone. Well, without further ado, it's not too late to put your name in the chat if you want to add, but I'm going to pick one of our names. We have 3 in here, mixing them up nice and good. There we go. And our first storyteller will be Nash. Awesome.
Hey, y'all. How's it going?
Hey, Nash.
Hey, friends.
Welcome.
Thank you kindly. Yeah, this is my first endeavor with this event, so I'm excited. Thank you, everyone.
Rad. You sound good. That headset is
good. Good. Yep, straight from work. So I'm commandeering.
All right, man. Well, welcome to the Cabin Fever stage. We're stoked to have you, and I will let you take it from here. Have fun.
Great. Thank you kindly. Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Nash Duffman, and here is my story. Okay, so the year is 2014. It is my freshman year of college. I am the, lanky, awkward, curly-headed, large-nosed gentleman that I still am, as you can see. Just looking for friends on a college campus and having a relatively hard time doing so. Essentially, I meet a gentleman named Hayden. Hayden initially stood out to me so much on campus. I'd see him everywhere. He's always riding his bike, and he's very easy to spot. He's someone who's like 6'3", looks oddly just like my dad. He has always dressed to a T in these short sleeve plaid and cargo shorts, always wearing a climbing helmet on a bicycle. Perfect. And always just dressed perfectly in a huge smile and all kinds of joy. And so initially when I, saw this guy on campus before ever meeting him, he just had an interesting draw to him, and I felt connected to him. A few weeks go by, we become acquaintances, say hello on campus. We kind of share this exuberant energy. And so, every time that we see each other, we like just wanting to have and create friends. We have very over the top, large, excited interactions, which I always really valued. So eventually, we exchange phone numbers, and we've hung out a time or two, here and there, like gotten lunch at the cafeteria, or we went on a bike ride or two. And then one day Hayden texts me and he says, "Hey, Nash, it's Hayden. I got something to tell you. Would you mind meeting me in the cafeteria? How about 5 o'clock?" I said, "Yeah, sure. Sounds great." So I'm excited, and I'm like, "Yeah, right on. Let's keep on hanging out. This is awesome." So I get to the cafeteria. He's waving over at a table, and I'm like, "Oh, cool, Hayden, there he is." So I grab some food, head over to the table, and I sit down, and he, with zero, he threw caution to the wind, and he just says, "Nash, okay, you have a dad named Greg, You have a mom named Lynn. You have an Aunt Mona. You have an Uncle Mark. You have an Aunt Lori. So Nash, my dad is Dale Murphy, who married Cheryl Murphy. And Cheryl Murphy used to be Cheryl Duffman, who is your aunt. Nash, we are first cousins. And so the moments after that just ensued with exuberance and joy and hugging and yelling, making a huge scene in the cafeteria, which people still tell me about today that they remember, having no idea what was going on, but just knowing that there was a lot of joy involved. So essentially, that's how I met my first cousin when I was at college and he was at college and happened to be at the same exact time. It turns out that Hayden's mom isn't really close with the rest of my dad's side of the family. But nonetheless, Hayden is my first cousin and still one of my best friends to this day. And that's how we met. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. I gotta say, like, well, that's so cool, right? Like, happy endings. We all love happy endings. Not every story has a happy ending, and if you have one that's a downer, feel free to share it. Like, we want to hear it. But we love happy endings, and I gotta say, I don't know how everyone else feels, but I have a personal affinity for stories where people use the word exuberance, and I think you might have used it twice. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Awesome, everybody. Give it up for Nash Duffman. Appreciate your story. We loved it. All right. Well, let's see. I'm looking for any other messages. Okay. Again, if anybody wants to get in on it, no pressure. But we just got another Mad Lib. But feel free. We've got 2 more storytellers, and we've got a few Mad Libs, and there's still time. All right, let's see. I'll do another Mad Lib. We'll do the other one. If I never met blank, I never would have blank. If I never met my mom, I never would have been born. All right, this is some basic science right there. Or is it? Did you meet your mom before you were born? We'll get back to that one. If I never met my brother, I never would have had someone to give stitches to. Makes sense. Got a brother. I gave him some stitches growing up. Actually, I don't think. Oh no, he gave me stitches too. So it went both ways. But I think he got more stitches from me. My mom's on this right now. We'll have to get a confirmation on who had the higher stitches tally. Awesome. Well, we've got a few more. We'll save those for now. But without further ado, we've got 2 more names in the bucket as of right now. Oh, hold on. I've got a private message. Someone DM'd me, and it's a question, so I'm going to reply. Actually, I know this person's listening. So the answer is yes, and just let me know if you want me to put your name in the bucket, because I do it. If you're just showing up and you want to tell a story, you put your name in the chat. I'll write it down, put it in the bucket, and then we'll choose. We have 2 more names in the bucket as of right now. All right, now we have 3. We just got Arturo. Thanks, Arturo. Sweet, welcome. Okay, cool. Here we go. And again, don't forget those Mad Libs. Those are always fun. They're in the chat, the link to them, and it's totally anonymous. No one knows who wrote them. I'll just read them. Here we go. And we are going with Haley M is up next. Welcome, Haley.
Thank you. Can you all hear me?
We can.
Cool.
How are you?
I'm awesome.
You are awesome. Your hair is awesome. Nice.
Thank you.
Yeah. Welcome. You were at the last Story Slam, weren't you?
I was not. This is my first by this organizer. So.
Oh, well, cool. Your doppelganger was here then, or I just have
love it.
Memory. But either way, welcome. We're stoked to have you, Haley, and I'm going to hit my mute button and give you the stage. Have fun.
I call this my bachelor relationship. It started at Jazz in the Park in Denver. It was a free concert, and I met this beautiful, charming guy, and he asked me to dance. And I was really nervous to dance. I didn't really like dancing in front of people. But he eased those nerves because the way we did it was he said, let's go find the cutest old couple on the stage. And so we found them and he said, now you copy the woman and I'll copy the man. And we spent hours doing this, jumping from old couple to old couple and dancing like them. And we went home together and had the most wonderful week ever. He was a poet. He didn't even have a smartphone. He had a flip phone. He was just like the hipster man of my dreams. So we spent all week just hanging out, reading poetry. He was playing his guitar naked and it was gorgeous. And then Saturday night, we fell asleep and I woke up and he was gone with a note that said, I moved to Minnesota, take care. I didn't even have this guy's phone number. I had his little flip phone, but you know, we didn't keep in touch, we didn't text. And I was heartbroken. I missed this guy so much. So 2 years later, my sister was getting married. I was single. I was going to go stag to the event. I didn't care that much. I love being an independent woman. And I was drunk with some friends and they said, why don't you hit up that guy that you still don't stop talking about? So I scoured the internet. I found him on Facebook. I sent him a message and I said, hey, this is really random. I don't even know if you remember me. But would you want to go be my +1 at this stupid thing? My sister's wedding. And he said, sure. And so we met up in Wisconsin and he met my entire family, which no man has ever met my family. And it was a fairy tale. We had just the most beautiful weekend ever. We danced, we played more guitar. It was awesome. He had a smartphone by then, so I got his real phone number. And then Sunday came and he got in his car to drive back and I hopped on a plane to fly to Nicaragua and I got a text on my way to the airport that said, hey, do you want to go to London? I said, hell yeah. So I had known this guy for a total of, I believe, 8 days at this point. And 2 months later, I hopped on a plane and met up with him for Thanksgiving in London. Just so happened that the day of our flight, he had gotten fired from his job. I was still in school and I had a long break. So I was planning on just traveling Europe. So he said, screw it, I'm going to cancel my flight home. We spent a whole month traveling to tons of countries all over Europe, sneaking on trains. We went to a rock concert in every city that we went to, Hamburg, Berlin, Paris. We got drunk and peed on the Eiffel Tower in the rain. It was absolutely amazing. And then a month went by and I was completely out of money. I used my credit card to book a flight home and he booked the same flight. I flew to Denver. He was going back to Minnesota. So we got on the same flight to Denver and had a layover. And he had a layover to go back to Minnesota. And unfortunately, our flight got delayed. And so his layover ended up being like a 30-minute thing. He got off the plane and basically just ran left to his next flight. And I walked heartbroken and crying to the train to go back home and back to real life. And I call it my bachelor relationship because I did some research on The Bachelor, and you know that most of those relationships don't actually end up in marriage. If they do, there's usually a divorce. It's kind of sad. And the reason is because those people aren't falling in love with each other. They're falling in love with the dates that they are going on. They're falling in love with these amazing dinners and these beautiful experiences, not the person. And so sometimes I feel sad, like I miss him and it was beautiful, but then I think about it and I don't think I ever really loved him, but I loved what we had. And that was my bachelor experience. And it was honestly the most beautiful experience of my whole life. So that's my story. That's how we met.
Yeah. Ramon is clapping. Yeah, thanks, Haley. That's awesome. I love hearing stories about the fly by the seat of your pants and just go where the wind takes you. That's badass. I feel like I need more of that in my life. Babe, let's quit our jobs and go on a random date with a dude in Europe right now.
Do it.
I have a friend who's in one of the editors of, it's either The Bachelor or The Bachelorette. It's The Bachelor. Oh, it's The Bachelorette. And yeah, it's kind of crazy. Maybe I'm letting out some insider secrets. You probably all know this, but it's pretty crazy what they're able to do in the editing bay to make people look as though they are falling in love or not falling in love. So anyways, you mentioned that show, but it's a trip. I got a little bit of behind the scenes on that show every now and then. Awesome. Well, thanks, Haley. Welcome to the Story Slam family, and we're really excited that you told the story. That was a great story. Oh, my mom's chiming in. He edits both.
Oh,
there we go. So if you guys are watching The Bachelor or The Bachelorette and you think it sucks because the editing's not good, let me know and I'll tell our friend to step it up. All right, cool. Well, Haley, thanks. And let's see, we've got some more Mad Libs here. If I never met my freshman year roommate, I never would have ended up in Jackson. Oh, that's a good one. I feel like everybody could reflect on like how far back I have a person. If I had never met Sean O'Brien or Chris Dinelli, well, my life would be a lot better, but I would have not ended up in Jackson. So thanks, guys. All right, well, we've got a few more. Again, the Mad Libs are there. They're anonymous, like go nuts. There we go. Another one just popped up. I'll get to it later. A few more. Right now, we've got 2 names in the bucket. I am going to just double check and make sure that we've got everybody. It looks like we do. I didn't get any private text, I don't think. Okay, cool. I'll mix them up. 2 more in here. And it's not too late. If you want to add your name to the storytelling bucket, there's at least 1 more spot. Put your name in the chat and I'll add you. All right, here we go. Our next storyteller will be Arturo. Welcome, Arturo. There you are.
Good evening.
Yeah, man. Good to have you. How are you?
Good. So it's my first time sharing anything, so I'm a little nervous, but I hope you guys enjoy my story. So awesome. my story is about how I met my best friend. So I went to law school in Laramie, but I went from Colorado. So I was living in Denver, went to law school in Laramie, and I didn't know anybody. And so I realized that in law school, there was very few minorities, right, attending law school. And so part of what I wanted to do was reach out to more minorities, especially knowing that undergrad, there were quite a bit of undergrads that were minorities, right? And so one of the first things I did was I reached out to this organization called Mecha. So I got involved with them. I started hanging out with them, and then I got to meet the presidents of the organization. And there were 2 sisters, right? And they talked about their brother, that their brother is a master's or a student in the master's program, and he's this amazing guy, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, all right, cool, right on. Part of my law school, I needed to go do community service. So I'm Catholic, so I decided to go to the Catholic church and ask for some kind of volunteer experience. And there I met another girl, right? And she's Hispanic, she's Mexican, and I start talking to her. And then this girl talks about her brother, how like this guy's a very amazing guy, blah, 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 and he's in the master's program. So I'm like, there must be a lot of cool guys in this master's program, right? And then time goes by, and then there's this there's this barbecue, and I go to this barbecue, and I see this guy, he's Mexican, so I'm like, yo, what's up, dude? And so I start talking to him, right? And he's like, oh, my name's Jose, and I'm a master's student. And I'm like, dude, I just met like 3 other people that have brothers that are in the master's program, right? And it ended up being that it was all the same family. So the guy that they were talking about was the same guy I met there. And because of that, I mean, I became, or not because of that, but since then, I became real good friends with Jose, and we got to travel to Mexico. We've gone to Vegas, we've gone to Cali. So we've been traveling somewhat, and it's been a few years. And Jose, I mean, I'm assuming you guys know him. It's the Jose here, Jose Rivas. And so I just wanted to share a little bit about how I met Jose and how grateful I am to have met him.
Yeah. Thanks, Arturo. That was going to be my first question. I was going to be like, well, is it this Jose? And it actually is.
Yes, it's this Jose. And so it was weird that like everybody was pointing me to like, you should meet this guy. You should meet this guy. But I had no idea they were all family.
So are you in Jackson?
No, not right now, no. But Jose invites me to this. So I've been to a few of them, listening to them. And I really enjoy it.
Awesome. Well, welcome to the Cabin Fever family. Thanks, Jose, for inviting Arturo. As you probably know, Jose is he's one of our regulars. He's one of our all-stars. So, and I think my favorite thing about Jose is he's usually like one of the first people to tune in when we do it online or whatever. And he'll be like, "What's the theme?" And we'll tell him and be like, "Yeah, I put my name in the bucket." And I'm like stressing about this for weeks. I like, if you guys saw like what I go through to prepare for this so that I know my story, I like freak out and maybe just a little bit type A. And I really appreciate Jose just showing up and be like, "Yeah, I'll do it." Awesome. Well, thanks, Arturo. We're stoked to have you. And that was an awesome story. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Okay, it looks like we don't have any other names so far, so I'm going to read a few more Mad Libs, and then we do have one more name who you guys just heard us mention him a few times, and then we'll get to our final story unless any other names pop up in the chat. There's still time. So let's see. When people first meet me, they think I'm a stoner, but I'm really not a stoner. Let's see. When people first meet me, they think I'm an asshole, but really I'm a dickhead. And then we'll save a few more until after Jose. Is there a difference between those two things? All right. Well, I'll make it dramatic, even though there's just one more name in here. Let me see. Did I just get a message? Oh, heck yeah. I've got a new name to put in. I do have time. Sweet. My mom's in. All right. Well, it's either my mom or Jose, both veterans, both hat owners. They both have hats. All right. So Jose or my mom. Thanks, Mom. Here we go. Oh, it's Mom, aka Cam. Awesome. Hi, Mom. Oh, we gotta unmute you. There we go.
Hi, everybody. I had to go dig out my hat for the
Nice.
event. So
everybody, this is my mom. She's in New Hampshire, and she was told a story at one of our story slams a couple summers ago at Mike Yoko Park about me. It was a little embarrassing, but I loved it. All right, Mom, welcome.
Hi, everybody. Well, this one's not about him. For once, I'm not trying to embarrass him. It's kind of a rom-com, a meet cute, a Harry meets Sally kind of story that my boys are familiar with. So it's 1963, the spring of 1963, which you all think is the dark ages, and it was. And I'm a just turned 17-year-old high school senior. I was pretty nerdy in high school. My close friends and I spent all our time either in a movie theater or the library. I grew up in Cambridge, Mass. My home was midway between Harvard and MIT. So all we do is make up our mind which library we were going to. I was not somebody who partied. I didn't drink. Drugs weren't on the scene yet. It was just, I was just your typical nerd. But my best friend in high school was anything but nerdy. I was going to college. Ducky was waiting to turn 21 so she could be a Playboy bunny. And she was always encouraging me to get out of my library mold. And it was the spring of our senior year, and she said, what are you doing Friday night? I said, I'm going to the library. I got to do some work. She said, no, you're not. We are going to go dancing at a bar in Boston. And I said, well, how can we do that? I'm 17. She said, I'll make us fake IDs. Now, remember, folks, this is 1963. She literally took a typewriter at school, used an index card, put City of Cambridge on it, made it look like a birth certificate. We put our names in it. I'm telling you, it was so easy to pass a fake ID. And we went to the Ratskeller, which was a really well-known bar in Kenmore Square, Boston, always had live bands. And we went in and the bouncer was checking IDs, but there were two guys in front of us. When we stepped up, he said, no, we need chicks in here. I don't care how old you are. And we went in. And we were there a very short time when a guy walked up and asked me to dance. And I had this whole lie set up about where I went to college. So the Ratskeller is down the street from BU. He asked me where I went to college. I said BU. I asked him where he went to college. He mentions a university in New Jersey. I say, what are you doing here? He says, I'm playing baseball against BC and my team's staying next door in the hotel. And he tells me his name is Steve. I tell him my name is Cam. And I go home that night and we talk about, yeah, maybe he'll call me or something. I go, yeah, big deal. He lives in New Jersey. This is 1963. You didn't have long distance anything. And he calls me the next day and he keeps calling me, which in those days is like a big deal. It's a long distance phone call. And that summer he comes up and spends the weekend at my parents' lake house. But it's 1963. I finally had to figure out that I had to untell the lie that I was actually just starting college. And he was a senior in college. This is, Vietnam era. We tried dating, but you don't have long distance boyfriends then. But we remained friends from 1963. We went on, married other people, always kept in touch. My two boys met his daughter. He and his wife would come visit. My husband and I, Jeff's dad, would go down and visit. This friendship went on for many, many years, a really close friendship. And then both our partners are gone through kind of attrition. And now we're a couple. And people say, so how did you meet? And we say, yeah, we met in a bar in 1963. And people say, what? How can that happen? You live in New Hampshire or Cambridge. He lives in New Jersey. I say, we make it work. So now we've come full circle, like Harry and Sally. And when it's not pandemic time, we travel together. We go back and forth between New Hampshire and New Jersey. And that's my rom-com story.
That is awesome. Yay.
Yeah, we got some comments there. We've got some, William Dunn is watching, some people from Cambridge, Mass. Got some fans. Susan McCausland was wondering where in New Hampshire. Where were you referring to, Mom?
I live in Nashua. I grew up in Cambridge. So Nashua is, I'm the last person you expect to live in the suburbs, but I live by the rule of 45. So here we go, my Boston accent. I'm 45 miles from Boston. I'm 45 miles from the ocean. I'm 2 times 45 from the mountain where I ski.
Nice. Awesome. Thanks, Mom. But just so you know, in 1963, I'm pretty sure drugs were on the scene.
Oh yeah,
Maybe
well,
not on yours.
not at the library. I'm going to say good night because it's 10 o'clock here. Good night,
Awesome.
everybody. Thank you.
Right. Thanks, Mom. Thanks for all the plugs for libraries. We love our library.
Yes. And you gave your brother more stitches than he gave you.
Sweet. Oh, from Warner, exit 8 and 9 off I-89, live in Salida, Colorado. Nice. Awesome. All the New Hampshire blood coming out. You guys are dirts. If you're from New Hampshire, you're officially a dirt. It's a good thing. Awesome. Well, that was my mom. I love hearing her tell stories. Okay, here we go. I don't think we have any final names in it, and I'll just Lindsay wants my mom to co-host the next story slam. Maybe I'll just take one off. I'll just let her handle it. Yeah, I agree. She's pretty good. And I actually didn't know the full story of how she and Steve met. She maybe told that, but I think she might have left out some details when I was younger. So that's cool. All right, here we go. We've got one more. So we hit our 5 mark, which was awesome. Thanks to everyone. We've got one more. Jose is up next. I'm going to read a couple more of our Mad Libs, and then we'll let Jose take it away. So let's see. I got to make sure I don't reread the ones. If I never met my ex, I never would have traveled into the wonderland of psychedelics. Nice. Good to have a bad influence in your life every now and then. Actually, that's not really a bad influence. So well done, ex. If I never met my freshman year roommate, I never would have ended up in Jackson. I already said that one. If I never met my roommate, I never would have fallen in love. Nice. All right, we've got a few more for me to read after Jose. And if, again, Mad Libs are still live. If you scroll up in the chat, you'll find the links. And again, it's totally anonymous. Not even myself or Leah can see who's writing these. So go nuts. Okay, well, without further ado, as I said, one of our veterans, familiar faces here at the Cabin Fever Story Slam. Please welcome Jose, friend of Arturo.
Yeah, Leah, don't start the clock yet. I want to clarify some things. Everything you said is true. What he didn't tell you was, and I don't know why I'm saying this, but I was heartbroken. I had broken up with my girlfriend of a year, and I had no one to talk to. So when Arturo approached me, we talked. He's an immigration lawyer in Denver, and I was like, "Oh yeah, we do immigration." Everyone who follows me here knows that I'm all about immigration in DACA. And then after like 10 minutes, I was like, "Dude, guess what? I know I just met you, but my girlfriend just broke up with me." And he always tells that story. I'm surprised he didn't mention that on there, that I was crying, trying to talk to somebody about it. But Leah, you can start the clock now. Storytelling, like Jeff said, I usually log on here and just go, and I'm not in it to win. I'm in it to tell the stories. That's what I tell, and I preach my students. I'm a school counselor, in case you don't know, that you have to tell your story in order to create change. And any opportunity that I have to create that change, or to create any story slam, or be part of any story slam, I will do it. I'm pretty vocal about my situation and where I'm at and where we can move forward with. And all the political stuff aside, where I lie on immigration and DACA. And so today I want to talk about the story of how I met my current employer / supervisor / really good friend, Daniela Peterson at La Familia Counseling. So I started my career in counseling after realizing that I did not have any role models or any school counselors who really approached me and say, "Hey, you're capable of this." For one, because I was undocumented, or I am undocumented. I'm a DACA recipient. And so I decided that one way I can help these students who are undocumented was to become a school counselor. I was tracked to go to law school. I would have graduated with Arturo, actually, and be an immigration attorney. But I thought to myself, how can I help these individuals before they get into the law, the justice system? I had a degree in criminal justice. I put that aside. I became a case manager. And thereafter, I started attending graduate school and pursuing a graduate degree in counseling, school counseling specifically. So April comes along, everybody's starting to get hired. Everybody who's in grad school knows there's a competition with your classmates and where you're going. My dream ultimately was to return to Gillette, Wyoming, where I had grown up, and implement all this access pipeline for first generation low income students into higher education. If you know Gillette, they're pretty conservative, and that wasn't gonna happen. I felt like I was a really good candidate and was turned away from 2 schools. At the time I applied at UC Berkeley to work for one of their summer programs, and I was hired. And then I knew that eventually I'd become a advisor. This is in 2018 for UC Berkeley for college advising. I had given up on trying to create change in Wyoming. And my friend, Victor Hernandez, calls me and he's like, hey, I did an internship with La Familia in Jackson. They're looking for people who are graduating, who are bilingual and have a counseling degree. I said, no way, dude. Like, my mom has cancer. My dad has heart issues. I'm going to California. I'm working in UC Berkeley for the summer and I'm staying there. She's like, no, I'll really give her a call. So I call her, she FaceTimes me. I tell her what my ideas are, what my views are for low-income students, first generation, Latinos, my target population. And she's like, yeah, you should come work for me. We can expand. And I see a lot of great things happening. And I said, yeah. This is messed up because I accepted. And then I said, a week later, I was like, you know what? Forget it. My parents are sick. I'm going to go to California. I'll work construction, which I did that summer for $9 an hour, building chicken cages. And I said, I'm going to go do that, work for the summer program, maybe get hired as a college advisor. And I'm sorry, I appreciate it. I have no one in Jackson. I don't know how to ski. I don't know how to snowboard. I have nothing there. And she said, okay, I understand. A week later, she calls me. She's like, I just spoke with the principal at Montgomery Mountain Elementary, and they're looking for a school counselor who's bilingual. You fit the description. You definitely should go and check it out. I called the principal, and he says, we're interested. I come and interview, and everything happens so fast. And I get a job offer. And I said, you know what? I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know anything about Jackson, but I know that they have a target population. I start doing the pros and cons and I end up in Jackson. I work with my target population. I work with the community in general. And Daniela, she's super awesome. Till this day, she talks about how she found me and how this almost never happened. And those who follow me know that my dream job is here in Jackson, and hopefully that stays that way, working with that target population. And she's a great supervisor. She's a great individual who really pushes me to be the best version of myself in a way that I can help this community. So thank you. And that's my story of how I ended up in Jackson and met Daniela Peterson. One of the reasons why I'm here.
Yeah, thanks, Jose.
Jose.
I love how, as I said, Jose is always like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And it blows me away. Every time he tells a story, it's a different story, but tied to his experience becoming a counselor, being a counselor, getting to Jackson, his experience being undocumented. There's all these common threads in your stories, but you always have a different angle on it. It's crazy that you're able to pull out these, and you fit the theme. So it's so cool. Well done, Jose. That was awesome. And always great to learn more about what you're doing and for our community and just all your hard work. Thanks for all you do. All right. Well, everybody, that's our 5 storytellers. And I think that was pretty awesome. So we are going to let Ben and Leah, I see Leah texting. I think they're calling. That this is how they deliberate to find out who our top 3 storytellers were. I did see we've got a few more Mad Libs that popped in here. So let me get to these. Let's see, I read that one. Read that one. Okay, if I never met a skater boy, I never would have gotten this shitty stick and poke. I don't know what that means. I mean, maybe it means what I think it means. If I never met my girlfriend, I never would have hated my life. Ooh. Ouch. And interestingly enough, I'm noticing that it doesn't say ex-girlfriend. So hopefully you're not stuck in the shit cycle right now, buddy. Or lady. Let's see. When people first meet me, they think I'm extroverted and outgoing, but really, I'm just thinking about when I can go home by myself, drink some whiskey, and get in bed. I feel like the older I get, that's exactly my story. And sometimes I'll just skip the whiskey. I just want to get in bed. When people first meet me, they think I'm super nice, but really I'm just passive aggressive. They'll find out soon enough. Oh, I missed one. When people first meet me, they think I'm a cold bitch, but really I'm a fuzzy teddy bear. Those are kind of, the last two are kind of opposites. Oh, if I never met you, I never would have realized my daddy issues. I'm not totally sure what that means. There's something I have to Google after these, and that'll be tonight's Google, daddy issues. Need to learn more about that. If I never met a convict, I never would have gotten sober. That right there sounds like a story for a future Story Slam. Well, congratulations on getting sober. Well done. Let's see. I know Leah and Ben are still deliberating. They're on the phone there, chatting it up. So thanks again to all of our storytellers tonight. We had Nash, Haley, Arturo, Cam, aka my mom, and Jose. Thank you guys all so much. If you're on camera or not, like, let's give everybody a round of applause and some snaps. Really appreciate you guys showing up and sharing some what were all awesome stories with us. A couple reminders about what we've got going on next. We're going to do the awards. So we've got, for first place, actually for all three places, we've got one of these awesome Cabin Fever Story Slam hats. This is the newer edition. There's a few floating out around there now. All right, I have the results. First place also gets a $40 gift certificate to anywhere you want in Jackson. Second place gets a $20 gift certificate to anywhere you want in Jackson. And third place is the coveted hat. So everybody put this on your calendar. As I said, we've got a Story Slam all on Tuesdays, as far as I know from right now, every month up through March. Next month, we're looking at December 15th, and the theme is win or lose. So make a note of that. December 15th, win or lose. We are definitely, as of now, sticking with the virtual format. And if this changes at any point in the future, we will definitely let you know. All right, here we go. Without further ado, I've got our awards here. All right, well, let's see. I'll make sure to do some clapping so it comes through. In third place, going home with a Cabin Fever hat and bragging rights, that is going to Nash. Congrats, Nash. Woo! I need to get a cowbell. Congrats. Yeah, there we go. We got the maraca on scene. Well done, Nash. First time.
And also, Nash, if you could chat me, you could private chat me your email address or phone number so I can get in touch with you and get you your hat. That'd be great.
You got it. Thanks.
Yeah.
Sweet. Wear it with pride. All right, moving on to second place, getting themselves one of the hats and $20 gift certificate to anywhere they want in Jackson. I'm happy to say it's from my mom, Cam McGurk. I think she's a night owl. I don't know why she called it at 10 p.m. She goes to bed at like 1 a.m. But whatever she's doing, she's probably like having a phone date with Steve. Congrats, Mom. You get a hat in the new colors, and I gotta say she might be more into these new colors. All right, and then finally our first place storyteller with the hat and a $40 gift certificate to anywhere in town. Give it up for Haley. Flying by the seat of her pants.
Yeah, and Haley, email me or private message me your email address and I can get in touch with you too. Woo-hoo.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, congrats to all of our winners, and thank you to everybody who took some time out tonight to hang out with us, and to especially everyone who told a story. We're gonna keep the story slams going. No pandemic's gonna shut us down. Let's see. I got another Mad Lib. When people first meet me, they think I'm tall, but really I'm just loud and obnoxious. I like that one. I wonder if that was fun, Katie. No, I'm just kidding. You're not loud and obnoxious. And I think I got all of them. So anyways, stay safe out there. Wear your masks, please. Be nice to one another. Thanks for tuning in. We love you all, and we will see you all or you will at least maybe see us and hear us on December 15th. And the theme is win or lose. Thank you all for tuning in. Be safe. Take care. Good night.